Welcome to the Travis Masterbone podcast. I am your host, Travis Masterbone, talking some shit to impact your life. This episode is episode 4, titled Jordan Peterson and Cleaning Your Room. Quote, "You should be afraid of taking risk at pursuing something meaningful, but you should be more afraid of staying where you are and if it's making you miserable. The devil I know is better than the devil I don't. Don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking, and if you're miserable now and you change nothing, 5 years from now, you'll be even more miserable and a lot older." End quote. Jordan Peterson, online phenom from Canada, professor, psychologist, author, speaker, philosopher, and well-known intellectual, book tours all over the world. Author of the book 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote for Chaos, and a few others as well. He's featured on plenty of famous podcasts, television interviews, has a bunch of speaking engagements. Look him up if you don't know of him. He is pretty popular, made his way on the scene not too long ago, had some controversial takes about speech in Canada on his campus, in regards to all the pronoun stuff and compelling speech. He was really against that, knows a lot, and has done a lot of research on, the Soviet Union, Nazis, and totalitarian societies. So quite a guy to actually listen to when it comes to things that might even step in that direction when it comes to society. But this man is one of the most brilliant men, in my opinion, roaming the earth. And I came across his book once again, 12 Rules for Life. I read it when it first came out and decided to re-listen. And one rule in particular, rule number 6, really stood out. And I wanted to go over it with you today and break it down. And so rule number 6, set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. And it's very interesting how the dots really connect. I feel like this has always been a hidden value of mine that my dad might have implemented with me directly, indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, ever since I was a kid. And as I grow older, the more and more I see some of those values really playing out in life for me. Appreciate it, Pops. But in particular, basketball. Like he always mentioned, working on my game. When things were bad or I didn't play well or I was feeling down on myself, he always told me to work on my game, not to blame others, not to point fingers, and essentially get my shit together. And that is the total big picture of what I want you to take away from this episode, is that we have to get our shit together. Jordan Peterson believes that this is basically synonymous with cleaning your room, right? And so in this chapter, he starts off really hitting the heart with touching base on the mass shootings and the mass shooters specifically, reading from the manifesto of one of the shooters. And this grabs your attention, and I think he did this purposefully. And what he points out is that these shooters always criticize the world, that humanity isn't worth living. So they take it upon themselves to do atrocious, psychopathic acts of violence, such as shooting and killing people, innocent people, or targeted people. But, the one thing that really stood out, and I really love the way he titles these individuals, these psychopaths, he labels them as superior adjudicators of reality. Now, what does this mean? It means that these individuals, if you really dig deep into you have to remember, Jordan Peterson's a psychologist. So if you dig into the psychological roots of why these people do what they do, they look at themselves as God, as purveyors of truth, in theory, of course. And in no way, shape, or form is it ever them. That's the problem. It is always society. It is always the world. Like I just said, humanity isn't worth living. So I'm going to solve this problem and just kill and destroy everything. And so this is extreme examples that I think he really tackled purposely to start the chapter off. But how does setting your house in perfect order, the name of the chapter, and cleaning your room have anything to do with these psychopathic murderers with cynical views and philosophies on life? Well, it's just what I just said. Maybe, just maybe, they are the problem, even though they don't think that. And so when it comes to you and your issues and your problems with life, obviously this is an extreme example, but when things get really, really traumatic and you're down on yourself, again, I'm experiencing this right now. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe you're the problem. Don't just automatically become bitter, resentful, pointing fingers, and then potentially taking actions against others and blaming others before you get your shit together, right? Always try to look at yourself first. And I think that's the main takeaway when I hear him talk about this stuff. And honestly, as we take a sidestep, no matter where you land from a philosophical perspective or religious or political views, no matter where you fall on these spectrums, I feel like this is a principle that, we can all kind of get on board with. Cleaning your room first. And so, back on track, Jordan Peterson, he preaches that, your room is a true reflection of who you are. And that chaotic potential is right in front of you. It's a place of potential. And if you're having an honest dialogue with yourself and your room is disgusting, but in your mind you think that you're above that, well, this is pride and arrogance at work. So if you're above cleaning and organizing your house, your room, what is yours, then how in the hell can you organize anything else? Anything else in society, right? If you haven't cleaned your room, don't try to reorganize the world, let alone destroy it and kill people like these mass murderers and shooters, right? And this applies for any sector in life, your career, sports, politics, you name it. It's a concept that I'm familiar with. I've seen a lot of this before in my life. I grew up playing basketball. I've played with plenty of people. I've been coached by people that are the loudest, but then never really walk the walk. Something deep about it that just really irks me. So if you're going to make big changes at work and do big things and tout about all the glorious things you're going to do for your fellow employees or your colleagues, if you're going to be the captain of a team, you're going to be the president of the United States or a huge advocate for climate change, whatever it may be, talk is talk, but you better walk the walk. And I wonder how many quote unquote leaders are out there that truthfully have their own shit together behind closed doors. I wonder what their rooms look like. I wonder if their house is really set in perfect order, or at least close to it. These things matter for me. These are big indicators on whether or not someone can or should be trusted, especially when it comes to really important matters in life. And it doesn't matter which department we're tackling here. Again, I've experienced this not only in basketball, but in different jobs of my life, you name it. And so again, the mass shooters, extreme example, but still very true about the basic overall big picture. But he brings it back down to earth towards the end of this chapter. What are you doing? Are you doing the best that you can with your life? Are you capitalizing on all the opportunities that are right in front of you? Are you giving maximum effort towards your career? Are you working on becoming a better husband, father, mother, wife? Let's look at this. What are we in control of, and what can we do to the best of our ability to fix it? And let's focus on that first before looking outward and blaming other people in the world. And it ties so nicely to my episode 2, Atomic Habits. Please go listen and subscribe moving forward. But it ties in because it is these little things and processes that we can look within and really just start somewhere as small and as simple and tangible as our room. Make your bed. Clean it up. Get your shit together. Clean yourself up, right? These are the little things that I've implemented. And just like I said in episode 3, these compound over time into remarkable results. And maybe, just maybe, your worldview or all the issues that you're dealing with straightens up a little bit. Okay? And that's just a suggestion of mine. I don't care. I'm not trying to preach like a god. I'm just saying maybe give it a genuine shot. Maybe don't be prideful and arrogant, because I'm not above that and you're not above that. And I think it does wonders for society and the world as a whole when you take care of yourself and clean yourself up first. And I resonate with this message tenfold, so I thought I would rant a little bit about this. But one thing that's for certain is this really reminds me of gratitude. And when I'm in deep and down places in my life, like I always think to myself, I could be without my limbs right now. I could have been born in Bangladesh. I could be deaf and blind. The amount of blessings, and I'll use that word, blessings, that I truly have in my life is truly astounding beyond belief. And this is why I always say my gratitude list, my mantras, every morning and every evening. It just reminds me that I have it great right now. I really do. Right? So many people would trade steps with me. Millions of people would switch seats with me in a heartbeat. And I have to always keep that in mind when things get rough in my first world problems. And so, this is why I say these things. And I also write them down every morning, every night. Consider me a screwball. And so, whenever shit gets tough, I always take a huge step back and always just try to keep these things in mind. And it's pretty funny. I don't know how this popped in my head, but Andrew Tate has a similar philosophy with this. He's always preaching about, get your shit together. He's a bit more aggressive about it, but he'll just say, be a fucking man, right? This isn't even a problem. Move forward. How many people are really suffering 20,000 times more than you right now? And what's interesting, on the other side of the spectrum, Sam Harris, he basically says the same thing. So again, I feel like this gratitude thing, we can all get on the same page with this as well, even though they completely differ politically and probably philosophically as well. If you don't know who those two individuals are, go ahead and Google them. But to wrap it up, I highly suggest, if you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, go look up his content. Get the book 12 Rules for Life, and I believe his other book is Beyond Order, or another 12 Rules, something like that. Listen to them, read them, go watch his videos, listen to his debates, his interviews, his speeches. I truly, again, think he's one of the smartest individuals on earth right now, and that's just my opinion. I think he's magnificent, and I think he's genuine. You'll see him literally crying all the time because he's so passionate about his beliefs and standing up for what is right. And I admire it. And he's always got so much damn knowledge and just amazing with his words. And I just can only hope to reach such an amazing landmark in my life that resembles his success and basically every sector that he's encountered. And then lastly, I suggest looking up his self-authoring program during all my shit that I've been dealing with over the past year. Self-authoring has been honestly just an amazing thing for me to partake in for myself. It's like therapy for myself, and I'm right in the middle of it. I'm going to go continue to do that right after this. And it's just writing about your past, facing your demons, and really taking a look and extrapolating on things and traumas in your life. And it really helps a lot. It feels like a weight off my shoulder every single time. And I can't recommend it enough. Feel free to check that out as well. But again, hopefully this all helped. I mean, big picture, clean your room, get your shit together before you blame others. That's the simplest way that I can put it in my own words. And let's close this up. I wanted to thank you again for tuning in to the Travis Masterbone podcast, and I look forward to you tuning in next time. Farewell.